Okay, I'm back. If you're following along, you've seen where I talked about my overflow. Now I've moved down to my cabinet. Take a look at everything I've got going on so far down here. Back here in the corner is where my overflows come down. And I have installed PVC pipe across the top, back, with occasional valves, so that any expansion, anything I want to do in the future, the valves are already there, ready to go. And we'll just follow the water line right on down here to where I've tied it into the sump that I just recently got. This sump is a Crystal 36. I was seriously thinking about building my own sump. However, after figuring out the cost of the glass or plexiglass, and the aggravation involved with building one, I found it to be a lot, well, maybe not a lot cheaper, but cheaper in the long run just to have one that was already built by people who knew what they were doing. I really like the way this is built. It's about 1/4 inch thick. It's a very well built. You can see there's really no movement in the walls. Everything's good and tight, and comes with the socks. And over there in the corner, that's where I'll be putting my I don't know how well you can see it, but back there where the socks are, the first compartment, is where I'll be obviously putting the skimmer. Talk about the skimmer real quick. This skimmer I originally bought back in the 90s, and this was the thing. Very, very basic skimmer. The water goes in here. It has like a directional fitting inside that creates circular motion in the water as it goes down. It goes down and then comes up this pipe, and there's an adjustable level. You can't really see it. Basically, it's you just raise it up and down, but for how high you want the water overflows, comes out here back into the sump. You just have a regular old fine bubble air stone in it and hook it up to an air pump. Well, I'll be perfectly honest, other than the possibility that this might be too small for what I'm doing, I don't know why I need all these pumps and venturis and all this other crap that's going to cost me a fortune when this does a very good job. When I had it hooked up to my 100-gallon tank back in the early 90s, the cup would fill up on a daily basis. I mean, it does a fantastic job. So that'll be my first, I mean, now if I feel like it's not up to the task, obviously I'll be buying one of these high-dollar fancy jobs with pumps and all the crap that goes along with it. But I honestly believe when it comes to skimmers, simpler is better. And as long as you have the fine bubble stones, because they have to, as everyone knows, they have to be really fine air bubbles, it's going to work fine. So having said all that, back to the sump. Here in the middle compartment is where the refugium will be. I've already located a light I believe that I'll be using, 1-foot light, 24/7 on. I've already decided that I'll probably use Miracle Mud down here, but I'm still looking into that because I've found that the Miracle Mud, apparently you need to change it every 6 months. Optimally, I want a tank that I don't have to fool with because of my job. I'm away for a while and the wife doesn't want to have to fool with it. Okay. Everybody probably knows how these work. The overflow goes through the mesh here, the foam to keep the air bubbles, keep the all the crap from coming down into the last chamber where your pump suction is. And that leads us to the pumps. I have gone with two Blue Line pumps. I got the Blue Lines because they're supposed to be every bit as good as the Iwaki's. However, without the cost. They're supposed to be. I don't have experience with them. Personally, I do with the Iwaki. I know that to be a very good pump. I'm going to try the Blue Lines. These two pumps are each rated for the height that I have to go at around 660 gallons an hour. So that puts me well over 1,200 gallons. And those of you that might be watching my videos are saying, well, you said your overflow is only rated at 1,200 gallons an hour. And that's true, but because of the way I'm plumbing the return in up at the tank, there's going to be a couple of elbows, and I will lose some of my lift, and I think they'll be a perfect match. Of course, if they still run faster than I'm getting water down to the sump, I'll just install a simple valve on each one of them and cut them back a little bit. Or possibly, when the line comes off, put a T and run some of the water back through the sump. Very simple. I want the water flow. If I have too much water flow for my overflow up top, very simple, I'll get more water down here, one way or the other, not a big issue. Some might be saying, why are you going with the externals pumps? The reason for that is the heat transference. I don't want any heat in my tank. That's one reason I'm real happy they've come so far with the LED lights, because I am going with LED lights. But let's worry about that later. Two pumps. You say, why did you get two pumps? Very simple reason in my mind is that for if any reason in the future one of these pumps craps out, I've still got the other one running. I can shut say this one takes a dump, this one's still running, still providing a good circulation, maybe not optimal, but in the time that it takes me to get this first pump fixed, replaced, whatever I have to do, the other one is still providing good circulation. I don't have to panic. So that's why there's two pumps. One return will go to one side of the tank, the other return will go to the other side of the tank. Not a lot more to see as far as electrical. You see here, I have one of those shop strip plugs, and I'll probably end up having to put another one under here, but they work. I did this with my first tank. I bolted it to the underside or the top side of the base and plug everything up in there. You can run your wires up the back, however you need to do it, keep everything tidy, because as long as it's tidy, you want to work on it. When it's a big mess, it becomes a chore, and then you start neglecting it. And just for air pumps or anything, I built a little shelf here, and there's a bunch of tools and crap laying back there. But now I've got open area back there should I need to put anything else down here. So I have extra space. Let's see, I can't think of anything else I'm currently doing. I have not plumbed my returns in. As you can see, the hose is just sitting here. I want to mention these hoses and the PVC. Let's go back over here. I ran the PVC down, but I did not hard pipe it all the way to the sump. I did put a little short piece of hose. Again, like the back of the tank with the overflow, this is so that I can unscrew this down here, pull this up, should I ever need to. I might not ever have to move it, but this will give me the flexibility of moving this if I ever have to take the sump out, move them out of the way without cutting pipes, without cutting hoses, without having to go through a big mess. Just close the valve, unscrew this bottom piece that holds this in place, and lift them up and move them out of the way. That's what I try to keep things. I try to look forward and keep things simple. And a word about this hose. I've used this hose before. It's very good. It's very thick walled, as you can see, as a comparison to my finger. But the thing about it is, when you go to start using it, I've found that an easy way of manipulating this hose is to submerge it in hot water. And then after you've done that, it will push right down onto that barbed fitting. And then once it cools off, it'll never move. Of course, I'm still going to use the plastic pipe clamps, you know, around it, just as security. But once it cools down, but when you heat it up in hot water, it does become a lot more pliable and easier to work with. See, it's like this. It does not want to stay straight. After you heat it up, you can manipulate it, so it's pretty good to work with once you heat it up. That's just the tip. A lot of you probably already know that. As always, questions, comments, suggestions, helpful hints, insight, anything at all is welcome from anyone, from any source. If I've skipped something here that you want to see more of, or me to expand more on my ideas, please feel free to contact me. Always willing to chip in my 2 cents, unless it's not wanted, and I'll keep my mouth shut. All right, everyone, take care, and we'll see you next time.